What's up,
you
fucking scumbags? Welcome to the very last video of the regular season, week 13/14. Here, the back-to-back champ I have. It's only right that he finishes us off. Welcome from the East Coast, Mr. Connor McCoy.
Good evening to all of the scumbags out here. Back again. You thought you might have been seeing Rich. You thought you might have been seeing Angel or Big Mike. No, sir. You're here with me, and we're going to talk about a heck of a week that just happened on top of the final matchups out here, Josh. How you feeling last week?
Well, selfishly, not too good, okay? I had my last chance at, not securing the pink shirt. But, I will be the commissioner. I will be the first two-time Sacco of the league, okay? So I'll own it. All right, I'll wear it. I'm not, I'm mad about it, but, shit happens. I'll make sure that this doesn't happen again.
You sound a little mad.
It did come down to a pretty crazy Monday Night Football.
Yep.
But we're going to get into that in a little bit. But listen, we made it to the end of the regular season. This is going to be one of the most entertaining videos of the year. Would you agree?
I would absolutely agree. I don't think anything's going to top Angel coming off of IR for a week. But I'm hoping
Yes.
that this video is up there.
Yes. Hopefully it's up there, all right? Because we gotta bring the fire. We definitely gotta bring the fire.
Let's go.
But
baby.
with that being said, McCoy, we're gonna get right into the thick of
things.
Let's go.
I'll do the Rich Ribera.
The Rock
There we go.
Soccer.
That one was for you, Rich.
That was weird. Boom, baby! Here comes the recap for week number 13. And boy, was it a doozy. We're going to start off with the first matchup of the week. We're going to go with Olave Garden versus Is That a Chub in Your Pocket, Talisha. Connor, how did Biddle lose to Talisha, bro?
2 words, Zonovan Knight.
Oh!
You might not have expected me to go there, but he was in Biddle's lineup all week long. Swapped him out for Gus Edwards and 15-point differential. Gave Talisha hope, and her guy, Tom Brady, who she wanted all year long, came through. And the sick part about this one is that the piece that got them down to the red zone was a massive pass interference call against Mike Evans. So if he just catches that pass, it's over. And I feel for Mike on this one. He had the better lineup. I think he was projected to win by 20. He's been snake bitten all year long, just with random crap going against him. So this was a tough one. I was kind of neutral because I really don't want to see Talisha in the playoffs. But Biddle's really good at fantasy football. So just watching as an interested observer, it was a wild one. Maybe this was a top 3 game of the year.
Really?
From coming down to the wire. Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
final
wow.
play of the game. It was the final play of the game that Talisha won it on. Final play of the week. And she takes it. Talisha, much love. Congrats.
Wow.
What was your take on this?
She scores less than 100 points, 3 weeks in a row? And she comes out and has just enough to beat Mike Biddle on Monday night. And he has, Mike Evans going and Chris Olave, and it's still not enough, man. It just goes to show, fuck fantasy football, bro.
Yeah. I think you're speaking for Moke yourself and Biddle when you say the fuck fantasy football.
Yes, 100%. So kudos to Talisha. Your playoff chances have been resurrected. Biddle, you're not looking good. The bubble, you're on the outside looking in, my friend. Next up, we got Ass Etienne Season versus the pink shirt gladiator who sits in second place, Connor.
Somehow.
And I don't understand how these these teams continue to put up these lackluster performances, and they're sitting pretty in these playoff spots, man. Make it make sense.
There is no make it make sense. I mean, Alex Smoke has had, I think he's like 4th in the league in points. He's definitely top 6. And this was the team that, I mean, Chris was saying, even I was saying too, nobody wants to see this dude in the playoffs. He's a waiver wire warrior, slow start, just fantastic roster. Just it's coming alive a little bit too late for him. So, hats off to a big win for Alex Moak. I don't think he, like, even though he's eliminated and really was playing for nothing, I know he just did not want to lose to Rich. So Moak comes through, Fields back in action, a pretty good game. ETN didn't even go off, but Eckler had some catches. Saquon was pretty sturdy.
AJ Brown, bro.
AJ Brown. Yeah, AJ Brown. Which is one of the best picks in the draft. But he won't be playing in the postseason, unfortunately. So everybody dodges a bullet on that. AJ Brown versus former team was a big matchup.
I mean, when I had Rich on the show last week, off air, I was asking him about his quarterback situation. He has Kyler Murray, and now he doesn't have Kyler Murray. He has Derek Carr. And I said, why Derek Carr? Of all people, you could have went with Mike White. You could have went with whoever else was on the waiver wire, not named Derek Carr.
Jared Goff.
And he chose Derek Carr. And I asked him before the game, what are you doing, Rich? He said, have they played yet? And as he said that, Derek Carr throws a pick 6 to the Chargers. And I'm just like, dude.
It's just like that meme, like, you chose poorly. That would be. But I mean, honestly, Derek, he could have started Kurt Warner from the 2000 Rams, and he wouldn't have even come close to Moak's points in this one. True. So he's beat up at running back number 2 right now. He might be getting healthy this next week, but his running backs have been looking suspect on top of the QB.
Yeah, I mean, if he's gonna roll with Cordell Patterson, Joe Mixon if he's healthy.
If he's healthy.
I mean, he's
hoping
to get Cooper Kupp in time, but I don't see it happening.
No,
but this
Cooper Kupp not coming back.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But I mean, Mo, kudos to Mo for smacking Rich up and down as he deserves. But we thought that was an ass whooping.
Yeah.
Okay, but this next matchup, USDA meat juice versus 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink. I mean, talk about an ass whooping.
Yeah.
And this guy's still talking mad shit in the chat, bro. What's happening here, bro?
Yeah. Another team. We're going back-to-back teams that are probably in the top 6 of, probably top 3 of teams nobody wanted to draw in the playoffs, and they're both eliminated. But Norm and Moak to both do God's work this past weekend by beating playoff contending teams. Like, this was huge for the rest of us that are just slugging it out. Norm was a trap. He came in. Mahomes was good. DeAndre Swift looks like he's really starting to kind of get going a little bit. Devontae Adams had some crazy catches. I think all the yards that Carr threw were Devontae Adams. I don't know if anybody else had catch. Certainly didn't seem that way. And again, look, Norm's been awesome. It's been awesome. He's been involved in the chat. He's had some fun matchups. It feels like a repeat of last year, though, where he's has a pretty good team, but he's just not in contention because of a bunch of close losses early. But he steamrolled Jewel. The Deshaun Watson experiment did not work out week 1. We'll see if Jewel has the guts to start him in week 2 of Deshaun. But I guess we'll see. What was your take?
I had a very, very strong gut feeling that Deshaun Watson was going to lay an egg.
Yes.
Completely shit the bed. This is the norm that we wanted. This is the norm that we wanted to wreak havoc.
Yeah.
And, he's doing it for all the wrong reasons at this point. And, I have conversations with Jewel throughout the week, text messaging, phone calls, and it's 100% talking about you don't want to see me in the playoffs. My first year in your league, you don't want to see me in the playoffs. You don't want me to win the championship. Okay? And if he continues to have these type of performances, I'm not worried about that.
We might not see him in the playoffs. He's
exactly.
We'll get to the scenarios here in this next round, but tough week for Norm. I mean, he's all in on the Browns. He has Chubb.
Oh, Jewel. Talking about Jewel.
He has Chubb and Deshaun. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if that would be in the top 20 teams that I would pick to be all in on. This could come back and bite me if I draw him round one. But, it was not
Slim
a good
pickings.
week. It was not a good week to have two Browns offensive players, as the defense special team scored 3 touchdowns and the offense scored 0.
0. And what scares me the most, Connor, is the fact that the Browns played the worst team in the league. They played the Houston Texans.
Yes.
And Chubb put up 8 points and Deshaun put up 5.
Yeah.
So, take with that what you will. Moving on, we're going with the snooze fest of the week. Mike, pop, lock, and drop it against Jared Peachy Corp Bangers. Okay, he's not going to get a real bangers because this motherfucker put up 84 points. Both teams put up less than 100. How does this happen in fantasy football, man?
But can we do the bangers just one time for fun on 3? 1, 2, 3. Bangers!
Bangers!
We had 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen somebody lose so many players early in games in a week, and it just came at a really, really bad time. And Jared said in the chat, I think either yesterday or 2 days ago, this week, it's one thing to take an L, but like to have at this point in the playoffs have this few points really, really could hurt him. He only has 10 more points than Talisha right now. So it wasn't so much the loss, because he's still at 7-7, but it was just Kenneth Walker goes down, Jalen Waddle goes down, Lamar Jackson goes down. It just was such a bad game for him. And then Kamara, I think Najee was number 1 for busts in the first round. I think it's Kamara and that's my guy too. Both Jared and Kamara are my guy, but like it's brutal to watch. I was texting you and I was texting Big Mike. It's like the corpse of Mark Ingram is being rolled out on more plays than Alvin Kamara. It was like mind-boggling. Tough week for Jared.
I don't get it.
Big Mike has won 2 in a row. I mean,
it's disgusting.
He scores 150 against me, and then he scores like 90 against Jared, and because of all these crazy injuries. But I actually don't blame Jared or the roster. I blame you and Rich. For saying last week that Jared is lucky. You put that curse on him, and we all know this league's all about curses, and this one came through.
Yes, I mean, you don't put anything on roster management. I mean, he had Curtis Samuel on the bench, he had, Duvernay. I guess, it's hard to start those two over the backs that he has and the flex.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. Curtis Samuel's been a tough start for him, for anyone. We have him in a league together. Yeah. We're not even starting him, right? So, it is just a tough one. But the good news for Jared, if there is any sort of silver lining, 1, Jared Goff was a good pickup. 2, Kenneth Walker actually looks like he might play. And 3, Jalen Waddle looks like he might play this week. So it could have just been a 1-week thing. These are not season-ending injuries. Even Lamar should be back in like 2 to 3 weeks, so he might get him if he's alive in the second round of the playoffs, perhaps. But tough week for Jared. Gets a clean slate this week, though.
Yep. All right. Next up, we had the upset of the week, which was myself versus the steamrolling juggernaut that is Chris's team. And does he lose? What do we got to do to kick him off the top, bro?
Well, he certainly got the 1 seed on lock. He's 12-1. Yeah, it was a tough one for you, man. I actually thought you had a shot to knock him off. Hurts did a lot against a pretty, I thought maybe the Titans' run D is good. Maybe they'll slow down Hurts on the ground. Didn't happen. Justin Jefferson had a pretty good game. And he's getting Marquise Brown back. I mean, his team's just loaded, man. I don't know what I can tell you. It's just so good. That I don't know. It's going to be a challenge for anybody to throw in him. But, your team, I think Aaron Jones was a little bit disappointing, right? Geno came through for you. And I think you're going to get Mike Williams back like a week too late for that boomer bust play. It was a tough one. Chris's team, it's just the consistency of the team. Like everybody else has like weeks where we're like right around 100 points. He hasn't. I think his low points is like 120 or something on the year. He's just every single week bringing it.
The floor with Chris is pretty high compared to
Yep.
the rest of us. You know, it was rough when Chris's wide receiver, Cortland Sutton, gets injured and puts up 0 points. Hayden Hurst gets injured, puts up 3 points. It's just been accumulation of my season.
Yeah.
And, you know, for him to do that to me, you know, it is what it is. But he definitely sealed, with Big Mike's win and my loss, definitely sealed my last place. And it is what it is. But we can't end the Week 13 recap without talking about the game of the week, which was last year's rematch of the championship matchup. We had Leave a Good-Looking Corpse versus Cooking Up Ramon. Back-to-back champ. The floor is yours. Go ahead and say whatever it is you want to say.
Yeah, definitely not going to gloat because I could draw Devin's team in the next round. This was just a bunch of the good things coming together. I had some good matchups. I was watching the games with Nia's sister's husband, and he's never not familiar with fantasy football. So to watch on that platform and me cheering for every single play was pretty. He would probably thought I was crazy. But Tony Pollard went off. That was the icing on the cake in the Sunday night game. Herbert did enough, 18 points. Dalvin Cook had a pretty good game, as you predicted, running over the Jets. Keenan Allen caught a TD. Tyler Lockett's been really consistent. That Lockett for Montgomery trade was good for both me and Talisha, both ways. She needed a running back, I needed a receiver. Debo did enough. So, yeah, just a really good week. I didn't have anybody that had bad games other than, the Ravens D and the kicker, which the D wasn't even that bad, but Justin Tucker at 4 points is disappointing.
I love that you go through the whole team and don't mention not one time the team name, the star player, the guy who got the the most fucking points, bro. You didn't even mention him, bro.
Because he's just so good, I don't even have to say his name. I mean, he's just so good, man. The Sun God. What can I say about Amon-Ra St. Brown? He was
the pickup. He was your number one draft pick this year.
He was my only pick in the first 5 rounds that's hit. I mean, Cook's been okay. Debo's been disappointing. Montgomery, Keenan Allen been disappointing.
Keenan Allen?
Yeah, it's thank you, Sun God, for coming through. And he goes against the Vikings D next week. Let's see. But no, Devin gave it a scare for sure. McLaurin had a good game. Darius Slayton had a good game.
He did not give it
in the early
scare,
games,
bro.
When the late game started, he was 43% to win. And then Josh Jacobs had a heck of a game and a really good start to that game. He gave it a scare, and then, the Chargers started getting garbage time points, and I ran away. But good game, Devin. I'm not going to talk any trash. We haven't seen you in the chat, so hopefully the Die with a Good-Looking Corpse, hopefully you're okay out there. If you see this, please, give us a thumbs up or something. Hello from the video.
Oh, hello. All right. That wraps up the recap for week number 13. And we're going to spin it around and bring it back for the preview for the last week of the regular season, week number 14. Do or die, win or go home. This is it. Are you ready?
I'm ready. It sounded like you were about to drop an EDM beat right there. I got to say,
boom, boom, boom.
Guess what you're at?
Boom, boom.
By the way, open invite to anybody in the group for EDC. Just going to put that out there because we are only 6 months away right now. So open invite.
Yes.
Any of the 10 other people in the league want to come to EDC, give us a shout.
Yes. And if you're worried, you're with veterans that have been multiple times.
Yes. Drink
Even
water.
Chris has been with us. He can tell you.
Chris will be there.
Drink water.
Chris will be
Yeah. All right. Well, if you're not named Chris,
Yeah.
all right.
6 months away from EDC. Jared's already committed to 1 day.
Yes. Any other takers out there, we'd love to have you. But we're going to start off with the first matchup, Mr. McCoy, which is the
upset of the week. My bad on that, bro. I thought we were doing game of the week. We going upset of the week, baby. Upset of the week.
Upset of the week. For the second week in a row, the curse will be broken. We're picking myself against USDA meat juice. McCoy, tell him I have a chance.
Yeah, no, you do have a chance as long as he's starting the Browns players. Derrick Henry should go off for him. But, I'm taking Geno against that soft Carolina secondary. You got Aaron Jones out, but, I think you have enough firepower out there right now. Ramondre Stevenson, I think, is going to eke out the win for you against a mediocre, Cardinals secondary. Belichick versus Cliff Kingsbury, probably the most lopsided coaching matchup of all time. I think, you've had a terrible season. It sucks. I feel bad for you. But we've all been there. And I think you end this thing on a high note because of karma. And nothing to do with Jewel, but you have done a great job as the commissioner for still staying engaged even though you're not in the playoffs. And I think that whole aura is going to come through to end on a good note. What's your prediction?
I'll take it. I'll take any fucking good vibes I can get at this time, especially against Jewel, especially in the shit that he talks, and especially if it helps kick him out the playoffs. I'm here for it, and I hope I can take his ass down.
Let's go, baby. Upset of the week.
Moving on. Wait, are we
going to talk about the bet? Because there's a bet on the line for this game.
You're right. Let me rewind a little bit back here. Connor McCoy, please review some chit chatter that was happening during last night, and some people had some interesting comments to make about our matchup between myself.
Here's
and
the
Jewel.
summary. I don't know. Jewel just went off. I think he's trying to get his engagement to a 10 out of 10 because last time I co-hosted was a 3 out of 10. And he said, he was calling out loser has to name the winner's team name. And Big Mike jumped in, and there was something about an entry fee being paid, but then that didn't really come to fruition. But essentially, if Jewel beats you, he can name Big Mike's team next year. And vice versa. If you beat Jewel, Big Mike can name Jewel's team. And there might be something about an entry fee in there. I'll just put that out there. We'll see if the chatter goes. But something about an entry fee. Jewel, this is your opportunity to show up here. Looking forward to a big week, talking a big game.
I think you're right. And I think they did confirm the entry fee, if I'm not mistaken. But some clarification would like to be made. Okay, so I'm very excited about that. But thank you, Big Mike, for stepping up and, coming to the aid. And I'm glad we all have the same idea as to what's going to happen against Jewel's team this week, right?
Upset of the week.
He's
on upset alert.
Bets, baby. Let's go. All right. Next up, we're going to talk about Alex Molk and Mike Biddle.
Good game.
Good game. Playoff indications on the line. Connor, please, what scenario does Big Mike have to go through to get to the playoffs? Because we know Molk is out, right?
Medium-sized Mike. Biddle versus Molk.
Okay.
And Biddle has to win first, and then he has to have a team above him lose. Because he has most of the teams on points. So he said he was out of it. He's not out of it. If he wins, and either a combination of really Talisha Jarrett or Jewel lose, Mike will hop them, or Devin will hop them if Devin beats Jarrett. But Mike has a real chance at this thing. He has to beat Molk, and then he has to have one of those three teams lose because he has more points than all three of those teams. So he's a win and hope one of the three gets knocked down. So the only problem with that scenario is I don't think he's going to win. Because Alex Molk's team has been a dominant force. I think ETN comes to play. Trevor Lawrence is banged up, so ETN should get more run. Saquon probably get a bunch of dump-off passes, which is maybe a good thing as they're trailing against the Eagles. Eckler against Miami. Miami defense has been up and down all year. Fields should go off again. I just think, it's nothing against Mike. CMC will probably have a huge game for him. I think he draws a really tough opponent in the last week, so I'm going Biddle on this. What about you?
I thought you just said Molk.
No, I'm going Molk on this. Molk takes down Biddle. I'm sorry. I'm going Molk on this. I'm apologize.
Okay. All right. No, you're good. I completely agree with you. Alex Molk's team. You know, fun fact, Austin Eckler is actually the number 1 rated running back this year so far out of the whole season. Incredible with the horses Molk has, and he still finished 10th. That's why you got to love fantasy football. But I agree with you 100%. Mike Biddle misses the playoffs. Alex Molk ruins his little 41% chance of the playoffs. Moving right along, we're going to go with Talisha is at a chub in your pocket, sitting next to her draft mate. 2 in the pink, 1 in the stink, Mr. Norm Floyd. Do we have another what could have been, should have been, would have been scenario with Talisha here?
Yeah, so Talisha's in right now. If she wins, she's in, no matter what. If she loses, she has a very dangerous shot of missing the playoffs. Because if she loses and either Biddle or Devin win, they can hop her. There's also a scenario where she could hop Jared because they're only separated by 10 points right there. But she's pretty much winning in. Or if she loses, she has to have Biddle and Devin both lose. Or have Devin win and outscore Jared by more than 10 points. So that's Talisha's scenario. She has to win. And again, I know I'm picking against all these playoff teams, which is probably bad news for me as I'm like lining up to play one of them. But you know, Norm's team's just like Molk. Like, just repeat everything I just said for Molk. It's the same thing for Norm. Devontae Adams probably goes off in this game. You know, DeAndre Swift is looking like he's picking up steam. Mahomes is always good for 25. I'm going Norm.
Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to pick against Norm with the players and the matchups that he has playing. And Talisha, you know, she's all in besides David Montgomery, and it's slim pickings on the running back waiver wire. So it's going to be definitely you know, some big games from Tyreek and Stephon Diggs in order to keep her afloat. But yeah,
I have a weird feeling she finds a way in, and she's the 6th seed though. I just have a weird feeling. I got to go with Norm on this one, just though.
I'm right there with you. Next up, we got the pink shirt gladiator versus Pop, Lock, and Drop.
Rock'em Sock'em Robots playing against the pink shirt gladiator.
Pop, Sock, and
let's go, Rich.
Pop it. So I mean, Mike, this is just kind of a throwaway game for Mike. He's pretty much locked into the 11th spot. I mean, is there any reason, any consolation? Can Rich lose the 2nd seed?
Yeah, so Rich can lose the 2nd seed in a few scenarios because his points are not good. So if Rich loses and I win or Jewel wins, we probably have the 2 best shots of passing him because we both have more points. We will pick up one of us will pick up the 2 seed. So it is a big game for Rich. He's getting Mixon back. He's getting Kyler back. And Big Mike is in a little bit of a tough spot. Brian Robinson on a bye. Samaje Perine. It's like a double whammy because Rich gets Mixon back. He loses Perine, who's been great for him the last 2 weeks. It's a tough one for Mike. His running backs have bad matchups. Rashad White goes against the Niners. Perine's kind of out there. Looks like he's starting Huntley for the Ravens over Dak, which, you know, at first I was a little bit concerned, but now I'm like, okay, like he's swinging for the fences. I like it, Mike. So, you know, it should be an interesting matchup. I just don't, like, Mike's been on a tear these last 2 weeks, ruining everybody's hopes and dreams, including my own, of potentially getting a bye. I don't think he goes 3 straight. I'm going Rich in this one because his team's getting just healthy enough at the right time. And his team's looking like your team at the beginning of the season. 2 Bengals players for him. I'm going Rich. You?
Yeah, I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to go with Big Mike here just because he's got my back, so I'm going to get Big Mike's back. You know what I'm saying? So, and plus, I love to see Rich lose, and I definitely don't want him to have a bye or any type of advantage going into the playoffs. So I'm going with Big Mike on this one. Come on, Big Mike. Come through, just like you came through for me, my man. Let's go. Next up, Mr. McCoy, we got Peachy Court Bangers against Leave a Good-Looking Corpse, Devin Estabilio, man. Tell me, what is your take on this matchup?
this is do or die for both teams. I mean, so Devin's one game behind him, but Devin has him on points because of Jared's just treacherous week last week. You know, the interesting thing, though, is that Devin, as much injuries as Jared had last week, Devin's actually the person with the roster problems here. McLaurin's on a bye. Jonathan Taylor's on a bye. A bunch of his other random bench players are also on byes, too. And he's just in a little bit of a tough spot. I think the big key here is, does Kenneth Walker play? If Kenneth Walker plays, I'm going Jared on this one. I think Jared picking up a guy who has the same name as him to play quarterback, Jared Goff, might have been the smartest move out there. He also went a very curious pickup of Tyler Higbee. Was surprised a little bit, but go with your gut, my guy. Going against, a soft Raiders D. Baker maybe has something to prove. I think Jared bounces back this week, does just enough, especially because Waddle looks like he's going to play. So I'm going Jared. What about you?
I love to see these matchups that really have huge playoff implications. Like you said, this is essentially do or die, win and you're in type of matchup. Devin's team had been sneaky good all year, but yeah, you get the players with, some of your top players coming with a bye at the end of the season, which really makes zero sense to me. But yeah, it's going to be really hard. He's going to have an out-of-this-world performance from Josh Allen, Josh Jacobs, T. Higgins. But Jared, I think, is just too deep. And
it's a dangerous
I agree
top
with
three
you.
That he has. Josh Allen,
Jared,
Josh Jacobs, T. Higgins. It's like really, really good.
I think Jared definitely squeaks by with his victory. And Jared is really hoping that Lamar Jackson can get healthy, here towards the end. But last but not least, we can't end the week without talking about the
Game of the
week. We got the number 1 seed, Hertz Donut, versus the number 3 seed in Cooking Up Rahman with the Sun God, Connor McCoy. The floor is yours. State your case, my friend.
So I'm going to take everybody a little bit back in time. I know this video is going long, but we got to remember week 3 of...
Fuck, who cares, bro?
Week
Take
3
as
of
long
this
as you
year.
want.
Probably the worst day of the year for me. I had a lot going on. I got stuck in a hailstorm at a kid's soccer game. I lost by 100 to Chris. Dalvin Cook got hurt. Amon-Ra St. Brown got hurt. I think Keenan Allen was sitting out. Michael Thomas got hurt. It was just such a bad week. And just Chris was relentless during that week. And he kept saying, we'll see each other week 14. And as much as, he's been dominating, I've actually been rooting for him to kind of steamroll these other contenders because he's had the number 1 seed locked up since October. It has been a long journey to get to this point. It's like 11 weeks later. And here we are, head to head. And I thought I was going to have to win and get in, but my playoffs are pretty much locked to be at least top 6. Still have a shot at the bye with number 2 if Rich falters, hopefully. But yeah, this is a big matchup. I think, we got a couple marquee names going head to head. We got Amon-Ra St. Brown against Justin Jefferson, and a pretty interesting division matchup right there. If Debo can do enough with the new quarterback, I like my chances. Hollywood Brown, it's probably going to come down to Monday night for him with Hollywood Brown against the Patriots. Man, this is a close one. His team is so consistent. Hurts against the Giants. I can't not pick myself. I think I'm going to win by under 5 on a Monday night sweat from Hollywood Brown. I like the Patriots in that game. So, I think Belichick defense shuts down Cliff and all the offensive firepower. So I'm going Cooking Up Rahman. And this, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but this could be a preview for a big matchup in the playoffs if everything goes according to plan. So,
ooh, Connor, are you saying that you are the only one that has a chance to knock?
Definitely not what I'm saying. But I don't know if Chris wants to play me in anything other than the finals. I certainly don't want to play him in anything other than the finals. And if I fall in number 2 or 3 seed, which I will with a win, even if Rich wins, I'll be the 3. That would be a potential big time matchup. So
Wow. Yeah, I think round 1, Chris gets you. Round 2, you get Chris, and then round 3 for all the marbles, right?
Yes.
Is that what you were saying?
Absolutely.
Huh? Round 3 for all the marbles. Yeah, I think Chris is kind of on a kickback. He's gonna chill on the boat, for these next 2 weeks and kind of let the chips fall where they may. What's great about fantasy football is that your players are still playing in the football, so it's not like you can just bench them and they're not.
Yes.
They're still playing, and there's still a chance that something happens.
Yeah,
to his
he was
team
talking to me
all
about
the
how his matchups suck.
know?
Like, Pacheco against the Broncos. He's got Fournette against the Niners. He's kind of planting all the seeds with me. Like, if I lose this matchups, oh, well, shucks, I tried. But I don't know, man. It's going to be a close one. I'm going with me. There's a long road ahead for me.
I find it interesting.
Sit back and coast in the next couple. He's been coasting since October, like I said.
Yeah. I find it interesting that he's got. I mean, for the time being, he has Jamal Williams, the touchdown golden boost on the bench. And he's starting Fournette and Pacheco
and Hollywood
Najee
Brown
over him
because he knows how I sweat on Monday night, and
Hollywood
I think
Brown.
he just wants to see me sweat.
Yeah, well, in order to not sweat, Connor, you just have to be up by 50
That won't
on
happen.
Monday night, which is definitely feasible. But I mean, your team looks star-studded this week. But that wraps up the regular season preview videos. This is the last regular season video. This is not the last video. We will have some playoff implications. But Connor McCoy, if you had to choose the top 6 that were going to make it to the playoffs, please give me your top 6.
I'm going to go Chris at the 1 seed, Rich at the 2 seed, me at the 3 seed. I'm going to go Jared at the 4 seed, Talisha at the 5 seed, and Jewel at the 6 seed.
Jewel at the 6 seed, he squeezes himself in there. Woo! This guy right here has been studying. He's not even looking at a computer. He doesn't even see what I see on the computer. This guy's all in his head. He's jumped through the scenarios more ways than one. Connor, is there a scenario where you don't make the playoffs?
I mean, and I think 90s.
No, you were telling me before the video.
Yeah. I mean, so it's in order for me not to, it says 96%, but in order for me to miss, I would have to lose to Chris, and then I would have to have Devin and Biddle outscore me by 70, and then Jared, Jewel, and Talisha would all have to win, and that would bump me down. They would all have to outscore me by 70 plus, and that means Devin would outscore me by 70, and Jared would beat Devin. It's just not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. As Big Mike texts me as I'm talking about this.
Yeah? What did he say?
He said I got enough mediocre backs. I told him to pick up J.K. Dobbins.
Well, there was a message that came across here that says Cooper Kupp is likely done for the season. So, that wraps it up for the video. Playoff scenarios. The picks are in. We've made it to the end. Good luck to all you one and done. Win and you're in playoff scenarios. Me, Molk, Big Mike, and Norm are all going to be kicking back. We're heading to Cancun, gone fishing.
Wait, hold on. Are we not doing the video
year.
montage that Angel used to do of all like the ridiculous pictures? And look at his head. Look at his head. Yeah.
Look at the top of his head.
Can we bring that back?
I'll see if I can dig up a roast video, and I'll little blast from the past for you scumbags. But with that being said, good luck to everybody this week in the last week of the regular season. We'll see you guys in the playoffs.